What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So this one is probably going to be a quick one because I really don't have much to talk about because everybody was awful today. Everybody. Even the closest that we got to being decent in Sanchez, even he was awful because his passing was, again, the worst that I've ever seen from a keeper. Literally two giveaways right to a Man U player right on top of the 18. Somehow weren't punished for it. But, I mean, he made decent saves today, obviously saved a penalty. He's the closest we got to a decent performance today. And even he had half of his game was awful. But everybody was terrible today. To be fair to Palmer, not entirely his fault that he was bad today because he had no help from the guys up top. But even he wasn't really effective today outside of the goal he scored. It's as simple as that. I don't have to talk about individuals any further. What I can go on and on about is just how ridiculous this club is right now. How ridiculously it's being run. I don't know who's making the decisions. I don't know who's in charge, but whoever it is, they got to be gone. Cuz I mean this team is a joke. We had an embarrassing performance against Newcastle. Embarrassing. We got laughed out of that stadium. And I'm thinking to myself, for Pochettino to convince me that it's not his fault, that he's not the problem here, that there's a bigger problem going on, it's not on him, we should never have a performance that looks like that again. And then we turn in an even worse one 2 games later. Which tells me either he is mentally not here as a manager right now, or the players do not have any faith in him. And they're the ones controlling things right now. And something that kind of leans more in that favor, that it's the players that are running things, and they're doing a terrible job of it, obviously, is the fact that, James. James is a perfect example of how much player power it feels like there is at this club right now. Because to do the petulant, petty, childish things he did 2 games ago against Newcastle and cost us that match, and then come right back into the side 2 games later, and boom, he's captain again. To me, that screams player power. That screams that the players are running this right now, and that Pochettino's not even a factor. I wish they would prove me wrong. I wish somebody would come out and prove me wrong. But based on today's performance, I've said it before, but you've got this young, inexperienced side. We're going to get young, naive, inconsistent performances. Because we were awful against Newcastle. We still weren't good against Brighton, but somehow managed to win there. And then we're back to being awful again against Man U and then losing. Against a pretty poor Man U side, by the way. Because let's just be honest, this game should have been 7 or something. 7-8-1. But they were awful at finishing today. They outclassed us, they outperformed us, they outworked us, they had more desire than we did to be out there today. It was very clear they still couldn't finish to save their lives. We were somehow still in the match, even at 90 minutes, despite our absolutely subpar performance. And somehow we still couldn't even get a point out of this game, even though Man U did everything that they could to give us a chance to stay in it. Let's be honest, if we had put in at least a 6 out of 10 performance today, we would have gotten a draw. We could have won, to be fair. If we had gone out there and just worked hard, if we had players that wanted to go out there and just bust it for 90 minutes, if we had that today, we would have walked out of there with 3 points. But we didn't. We had a bunch of players that didn't want to perform, didn't want to go out and do their jobs, and so we lost to a below average Man U team. That in and of itself, for me, screams that there is a huge problem at this club. And I think it stems from the very top. And sure enough, I have that thumbnail saved. I have that thumbnail of me holding the paper and the text Boehly out on it. Because, yeah, it's very easy. And after a performance like this, it's very easy to just put a picture of some Chelsea player with their head down and then me with the paper, and that's it. Because if they don't want to put in effort to perform, I'm not going to put in effort to try to come up with a different thumbnail every time. Because For me, at least, that takes a lot of work because I'm not good with creating thumbnails. But honestly, that's what it boils down to. Is Boehly has put together this team where even though you've got a good manager now, you've got a lot of young, talented players out there, you've not actually brought in a team that works together. You've not brought in a team that actually performs as a team. You brought in a bunch of individuals that play like individuals. And frankly, I don't see how we're going to turn this around. We're going to have those games where we somehow manage to luck out and get a win, like the Brighton match. What was the other one? There was another one where we barely won earlier this season. I don't remember who it was now. But we're going to have those games where we just, okay, yeah, we didn't perform well, but we managed to draw, we managed to win. Don't know how that happened. That's going to be our season, and we're going to finish probably just about mid-table. Probably in the lower half again, but probably just about mid-table. And that's apparently what we want. Because if anybody like me says that there's a problem here, if anybody gets up and says something, gets frustrated, gets mad, all the cheerleaders with their little pom-poms where Chelsea can do no wrong are like, no. You just got to give them time. This is a rebuilding year. You just got to give them time. They're going to get better. Screw all of that. I'm done with that mentality because if this were a rebuilding season, I would see where the building blocks are being placed so that we can continue to get better. But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing positives. You have one game where there's a positive to look at. The Man City game, great positive. You look back at that match and like, yeah, this is the type of stuff I want to see going forward. Since that Man City game, there's been nothing. There's nothing in the Newcastle match. There was nothing in the Brighton match. There was nothing in this match. Nothing is getting me excited about the future because I'm just watching a bunch of guys who don't really seem like they want to be here. The way that they play, the way that they carry themselves, if it were a talent thing where we just had a bunch of guys who weren't quite there yet with their talent, if that were the problem, I think about Werner. He worked his butt off. Finishing wise, he wasn't quite there, but he was at least working for the team. If that were the problem, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Gallagher is a good example of that too. He's not quite there talent wise, but he at least busts it every game. Sometimes to the point of overdoing it and getting himself sent off, but he at least works hard every match. But that's not the problem we're having. We're not having a bunch of players that are working hard, but they're just not good enough. We're having a bunch of players that are not working hard, that are not giving it their all, that are not going out there and giving 100% every single match. You got Sterling, who takes a dive today whenever he cuts inside and has a chance to shoot. Because that's what he'd like to do. He'd prefer to just get the easy call instead of, let me actually try and take a shot here. Jackson, instead of actually working hard and trying to give his teammates an option, he'd rather just stand up top and wait for somebody to give him the ball. Mudryk, instead of trying to find a good pass, he'd rather do little flicks or take the shot on himself even though he doesn't really have an angle. Palmer, I can't fault him. Unfortunately, the way he plays, it did not suit this game. Because he is very calm and composed on the ball. He takes slightly longer to move the ball, but he's very composed in his touch. But if he has no movement and the other team is planning 3 guys on him, he's not going to have time to do what he does best. So I can't really fault him for that today. But Caicedo, nothing in the midfield. Constantly giving it away. Constantly taking too long and getting stripped of the ball. Defensively, he doesn't really offer much of anything. Fernandes sometimes looks great, and then sometimes today. Against Brighton, he was probably our best player on the bench. He looked phenomenal. Today, he looked like might as well be in League One. He was awful. You got Colwill on the left, takes a dive instead of defends for the second goal. So no defending that. There's no defending him on that one. He decided, I would rather take the easy way out and try to get a foul called here than defend this. That's not what you do as a defender. That's not what you do for your team. You don't take a dive as a defender, hoping to get a foul instead of, defending. Silva, I can't fault him because he's 39 years old. So he's not exactly the type that can go 90 minutes being down a man, having to constantly defend for a second half, and then go right into the next match 3 days later and still turn in the exact same level of performance that we saw on the weekend. I'm not expecting that of him. I don't fault him for that. Disasi, I mean, how many times does he have to get stripped of the ball before he decides, you know what, maybe I'm not the best on the ball, so maybe I shouldn't play around with it too much. And then Kukurea in the first half, I mean, he's back to the same old self, just working hard but constantly getting beat because he's not good enough. James in the second half doesn't give a shit. You could not pay him enough money to work harder than 50% throughout the game. That is where he is. That's where his sister is. They are both the laziest, lackadaisical players I've ever seen in my life. And that's a shame because they are both very talented. But at this level, you cannot just walk around the pitch. You can't stand on the ball, especially in the 92nd minute. When we have the ball and we get it out to you and you stand on it and then take some touches and then cut back with it, we are down a goal. We get you the ball, go. It's simple. And again, for Sanchez, I mean, how many times do you have to kick the ball right at another player before either you or your teammates figured out that's not what you do well. That's what you do terribly. How many times does it have to happen? We've already given away one game where he did that. And today, again, 2 more moments where it could have been worse. And somehow it wasn't. But that doesn't mean that, oh, okay, guys, it's okay. It was a mistake, but he'll get better. No, he's not getting better. It's the same thing with Mendy or with Kepa. You know, their issues. Mendy with his feet, he wasn't good. Kepa moving his feet to get side to side was not something he was good at. And it never improved. So if it never improves, then either 1, the coaching staff is not doing their job and trying to fix that, or 2, figure out we need to keep that from happening. We need to keep him from using his feet because that's not what he does. And for Pochettino, I mean, you used 2 subs today. You used 2 subs in a match where you lost 2-1. I realize the talent we have on the bench is not great. I get that. But you used 2 subs today. At the very least, get some guys out there that are going to work hard, please. I'd much rather see some kid, Washington, Matos, Mats. I'd rather see some of those guys, if they're willing to bust it, if they're willing to work hard, I'd rather see them than watch a lot of these morons that are just going to walk around the field for the next 45 minutes. Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching those players just walk around. There's no heart, there's no passion, there's no desire in half of these players. And I'm done with it. I'm done with this whole mentality. And I'm done trying to sit here and go, oh, okay, I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see if it gets better. I'll give these players time to grow. No, it's not about letting them grow. It's about a mentality, and they don't have it. They don't have the mentality that we need at this club. That's where you compare it to Arsenal's rebuilding year. You see where they are for the past 2 years compared to where they were 3 years ago. You want to see the difference between a rebuilding side and what we're doing now? Look at their performances 3 years ago. Yes, they were bad. But it wasn't because of a work ethic problem. It wasn't because they weren't working hard enough. They just didn't have those pieces put together well. It was a team that was very clearly still trying to work it all out. And then last season, they finally got some of those pieces in place that Arteta needed, because they actually, referred to the coach and said, hey, coach, what players do you want in your side? Not just, hey, let's just go get whoever, and Pochettino, good luck, buddy. They actually put together a side for him, but the work ethic was always there. We don't have that here. So this is not rebuilding year. This is a scary year. This is a year that shows me Boehly still doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And we're struggling. We're going to struggle for the rest of the year. Because teams, I'm watching Sean Dyche in the crowd for this one. He's watching this game going, all right, well, I know what we got to do to beat Chelsea in the weekend. Because it's easy. It's easy to figure us out because all you got to do is just outwork us. And I'd say 75% of the time, that works. The other 25%, it's either because we just have a little bit more talent, like the Blackburn match, or we suddenly show up for a match and we decide, yeah, now we want to play. Now we want to go out there and try, like the Man City match. But the other 75%, if the other team outworks us, they're going to win. I'm guaranteed they're going to win. Because that's how easy it is to beat us right now. You just have to want it more than we do. And that's not that hard. Because most of our players don't look like they want it. So anyways, like I said, I mean, that's about it. I'm kind of at that point where, reviewing the game itself is pointless. Because, I mean, let's be fair. There's not much for Chelsea in this game to review. Because what did we do? We gave them the ball. We let them play a lot. I do want to see our passing percentage because I feel like our passing percentage had to be low because the amount of times we just passed it right to a Man U player was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, this was one-way traffic. Again, it should have been 7-8 to 1 outside of Palmer's wonderful goal because we gave them that many chances. What was it? 28 shots, 9 on target. The problem is, those 7 that didn't go in that were on target, I think 4 or 5 of them were right at Sanchez. There was the header from, I think it was McTominay, where he literally, all he had to do was just put it to either side, but he put it right at Sanchez, and it bounces back to him, and he kicks it right at Sanchez again. I'm just like, I mean, that's why we're not out of this game yet. It's not anything we're doing, it's because Man U was not finishing their chances. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I can say. That's about all of it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens on the weekend. Because, again, with this team, you never know. They could show up on, I think it's Saturday or Sunday. They could show up and suddenly, oh, yeah, they're ready to go. Let's play. But you never know with this team. Because they're young, they're stupid, and they're naive. And they don't want to work for this team all the time. They want to work when it's convenient for them. So, that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe if you Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys at the weekend. Peace out.